Okay, it is currently the end of November. It's going to be December very soon, and this month I have not read very much at all, like at all. Also, it suddenly got dark. Wait, I'm gonna turn on the... Is that better? Is that better? Now I'm just completely yellow, but okay, it is what it is. Yeah, I've been kind of busy this month. I have not been able to read a lot, mostly because the books that I chose to read are kind of heavy, so it's not like I can just read them in a day. It took me a few days to read, a few days to think about it, and also like I was busy doing work, and I also had to go and settle a lot of things on the housing front. So good news, I managed to get housing in Singapore. I mean, it's not here yet. It will take a few years, but just being able to say that I will get it in a few years, I feel like I really struck the lottery. It's just such a privilege already. Yeah, so that required a lot of preparation, a lot of paperwork, a lot of follow-up, so no time to read. But anyway, I did read a few books, namely 5 books, so here they are. Yeah, so this will be a kind of a shorter review because it's impossible to cover everything in these books. Okay, let's just start with the easy one. The Undomestic Goddess by Sophie Kinsella. So I think like everyone knows Sophie Kinsella as like the author of the Shopaholic series, right? There's even a movie that came out when I was in secondary school, I think, the Confessions of a Shopaholic. Yeah, I remember I watched it. I kind of actually enjoyed it quite a lot. So what this book is about this like lawyer who's obviously super duper stressed at work. Like, she is incredibly stressed and she has no idea like how to handle it. She has zero work-life balance. She doesn't even really have friends or like, you know, supportive family. She has no support network whatsoever. It's just work and work and work and work and work from morning till night. Like, she's about to become a partner at her law firm until something happens. Like, you know, there was a slip up and then she ended up costing her client a lot of money. Of course the insurance will pull through, but then she gets fired because it's a huge mistake. And then she in her days accidentally takes on a job as a housekeeper for this kind of like elderly couple who are just kind of kooky, kind of funny, and she lied to them. She was like, oh yeah, I can cook, but actually she like orders in and everything, and she falls in love with the gardener, and then they kind of have like a passionate love affair and everything. Anyway, eventually she figures out that, you know, the mistake at work wasn't a mistake, but she was kind of used as a scapegoat in order to get somebody a huge amount of money. So she goes back for a while, but then she realized that actually it's a huge mistake. Like, they are just going to take her soul again. She's not gonna have a life again. So she gives that up and then she just stays with the guy that she loves. So it's definitely like comedy. It's a feel good, like, you know, you just kind of root for her. You just root for her. Yeah, so that's book 1. Second book that I read, non-fiction. I rarely read non-fiction, but yes, here it is, The Book of Eels by Patrik Svensson. Yeah, so at first I was thinking, right, how interesting can eels be? Are eels not like those you know, like you eat at a Japanese restaurant like unagi? That's what I thought. I was wrong. Eels are so fascinating. I was enraptured. I am now like obsessed with eels. I cannot believe that such things happen. Like, just the life cycle of the eel on its own is insane. I'm like, these eels can live as long as people. They can live for like 80 years. And the fact that not a single human being on earth has been able to catch eels doing the nasty. Zero. How can it be that we have never seen a single eel mate? How is it possible? Like, you're telling me that, yeah, we can kind of catch the eels when they are like going towards their mating ground in the Sargasso Sea, but every single eel comes from this one part of the ocean, but nobody can ever catch them doing it in the ocean, and all we get to see as a result are like the baby, the larva, that comes out of the eggs, that is the only proof we have that they are actually they're breeding in the ocean. But we've never, I'm like, what? I just can't believe it. Like, it's insane, right? Like, how much don't we know? How much don't we know? That's my question of the day. So I would strongly recommend everyone go and read this book, because I was like, wow, I was just mind blown. I had no idea such creatures existed. Like, I just thought they were normal, like, you know, fish to catch and eat. But first of all, you can't even call them a fish. Second of all, what really is a fish? That just really got me thinking. Okay, third book, Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Machado. Machado? I don't know. I'll figure it out later. But this book is a collection of short stories. So let me go and look for the contents page for you. Okay, here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 stories, and all of them are just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Like, if you could read only one book in a year, in 1 year, this is the book I would recommend. You go and read. Not even the eels, okay? Like okay, the eels is like non-fiction, but this is fiction. This is short stories, and I just feel like every single story was perfect. It was written perfectly. It was the perfect blend of so many different things, of sci-fi, of horror, of body horror, of, like, you know, what does it mean to be mother, daughter, sister? What does it mean to be queer or straight? What does it mean to be in a relationship? What does it mean to not be in a relationship? Everything. Just, she really managed to distill this concept of womanhood. What does it mean to be a woman in this world? What is the female? I wouldn't even say female, because not necessarily, right? What is the woman's experience in this world? What do people who are coded as women, who identify as women, what do they go through in this world? I mean, even if you are not, you know, living in the same country as her, some things are universal, and she just gets that. She gets that, like, her mind. I really want her to come to Singapore, and, like, you know, for Singapore Writers Festival or something like that. And I just want to, like, get her to sign a copy of the book that I will definitely buy if she's coming to Singapore. I have another one of her books over there, but it's a essay, so I will read that in December. I'm looking forward to it. I've been, like, saving it, just saving it. Alright, next, At Night, All Blood is Black, by Diop. So this is set in, like, Senegal. Yeah, like during the war time. It's about this guy who had to watch his bosom friend die. So they are at war, right? And they are commanded by their French commander to, like, go out and, like, you know, shoot at the enemy and whatnot. But then of course, you know, at war people die, so he had to watch his friend die. And then his friend actually, like, begged him to, like, kill him and everything, but then he didn't do it because he didn't want to be the one to deliver the finishing move. He was too much of a coward, so he's been making up for it ever since then. And then he just had, like, this kind of, like, mental spiral. He just goes off the rails after his friend dies. Yeah, there's no other way to put it. I feel like when you read it, you're just going to be like, it's kind of repetitive at the start. He seems to be fixated on this one thing. But then the more you read it, the more you realize that this is his stream of consciousness. You actually get to see how his mind wanders from one incident to another incident. How he keeps rationalizing that the enemy didn't kill my brother. I killed my own brother when I did this. I killed my own brother when I teased him about this. I killed my own brother when, you know, in our childhood back in the village, I did this and this and did this. So he is just seriously taking everything upon himself, and he's also confronting the kind of, like, privileged life that he has had compared to his brother. Not even brother, more than brother. It's like a friend who is closer to you than a brother. They were basically, like, you know, sworn brothers, grew up together, adopted brothers. And then towards the end, there is this little bit of mysticism where it seems as if that his brother has kind of come back to life and has inhabited his body. And there is also, like, this whole idea of so is this character, is he really, like, a soldier sorcerer or not? Is he actually, like, you know, blessed or cursed, however you want to look at it? Or do you think that it was all in his mind? Because there are people who say that of him. They're like, your body doesn't have scars, a warrior without scars is a sorcerer, etc, etc, right? And then at the end it does seem that he is able to push his soul out of his body to allow his dead brother soul to inhabit his body instead, to give him a chance at having, like, you know, a strong desirable body, give him a chance at life, give him a chance at experiencing, you know, having sex for the first time, etc, etc. So I really like that it was ambiguous, and that towards the end you really don't know whether this magical event is happening or not. Yeah, I just enjoyed it. Even though it's kind of like a thin book, right? You think that, I can read it in a day. You can read it in a day, but you will be kind of like left feeling a bit depressed afterwards. The last book of the month, A House is a Body by Shruti Swamy. I hope I didn't butcher the name, but yes, this is her at the back. I always feel a bit shy, you know, when I can see the author's photo at the back. Like when I read the book, then I feel like, oh, it's such a nice book. Then when you see the author, you're just like, you feel like they are looking at you looking at their book, and then I just feel very like embarrassed, like I'm sorry for looking at your book. I'm not good enough to look at your book, you know. I don't know whether it's just me, but yeah, this is also a collection of short stories, and I specifically wanted to read this because it was about the Indian experience. Yeah, so here are the stories. There's 12 of them, and they are set in India and in America. So I guess if you want to say, there is a little bit of the diaspora element to it, but not every story. Some stories are set in India and then they end in India. Some stories they go from India to the US. Some stories they go from the US back to India. Some stories, like, you know, the character is queer. Some stories the character is straight. Some stories the character is a mother, arranged marriage. One story is written from the perspective of a husband, but the rest are written from the perspective of the woman. Specifically, usually, like, you know, the wife, the daughter, the girlfriend. And it's nothing like I've ever read before. I feel like stories like this, even if they were not masterfully crafted the way this is, they still should be read, because there is just not enough representation. There just isn't. Like, yeah, there are translated works, or like there are stories written by Indians living in other countries, like Indian Singaporeans. They write, you know, amazing stories and everything, but it's all classified under Singlit. But what about, like, you know, Asian American, specifically South Asian American lit? Why is it that I don't see it on Bookstagram? Why is it that I don't hear about it from my friends? Nothing. I only chanced upon this. I chanced upon it. Like, there is not much discussion, there's not much deliberate reading of Indian American voices anywhere, in my personal opinion. On top of that aside, the way it was written, it was just beautiful. Like, every single line was just crafted with so much intent and so much meaning that it took me a long time just to read one story, because I just kept going back. I'm going like, oh wow. I'm just like admiring the craft, and like the way that she drops hints here and there. Like, there's one where it suggested that, you know, the protagonist, she kind of is a battered wife, you know. She gets abused, physically abused by her husband. Like, he strangles her and stuff like that. And then a neighbor moves in, and the first thing she notices is that there seems to be, like, you know, the remnants of a bruise under her makeup or something like that. And their children meet, you know, and then they play, and then when their husbands are out working, they kind of meet, and she tries to seek solidarity, like camaraderie, with this woman by, you know, showing the neck, like, you know, can you see that I have a bruise here? But then the woman, the neighbor, she just resolutely decides to not see. She unsees, right? Because I guess she's just not ready for that kind of acknowledgement of her situation. And then they just end up talking about normal things like orange trees, children. And yeah, but the thing is, the domestic abuse isn't even the centerpiece, even though I feel like it should be. But the way she did it was that she alluded to it using only 2 sentences, just 2 separate occasions. You're expected to, like, make the link yourself. And I think that, like, you know, writers who write that way make the reading experience very enjoyable. Like, they expect you to to participate, you know, to piece together the story as you are reading it. And I just kind of enjoy the experience a lot. So these are the 5 books that I read this month. I'll show them again. Okay, yeah, so that's that. December I don't really intend to read a lot because I have a lot of work to do. I really do. I'm drowning in work. Every day I stay up until 4 or 5 a.m. to do work. It's not really a holiday, but it is what it is. So I will most likely just continue to make my little vlogs because I'm still trying to cherish my holiday, or like what little I can use of it for leisure and, you know, for my own pleasure. I think work has to come first, and I feel like as much as I do not want it to come first, it has to come first. It just has to. It's like that Britney Spears song, you know, I'm a slave for you, except I'm a slave to my employer. I'll see you again next month, I guess, or like, you know, in my little vlogs. I also have plans to eat a lot of ice cream. I will rate them. It's coming soon. I just need to find the time to eat ice cream. Alright, okay, bye.